Welcome to the Leadership Series on Lead, Improve, Grow.
We hear the word accountability thrown around constantly, right? In business, in team meetings, in those dreaded performance reviews. But what if our entire definition of it is just completely backward? Well, today, we're going to redefine it. We're going to unpack what accountability truly means, and I'll show you how embracing it is actually the ultimate catalyst for your personal career trajectory and, honestly, your team's overall success. The insights for this explainer come straight from Mayank Trivedi and his Lead, Improve, Grow platform. If you're not familiar, it's essentially a masterclass in actionable wisdom for leadership, process excellence, and continuous career growth. Mayank shares these really practical, hard-hitting leadership lessons through his LinkedIn posts, giving professionals the exact tools they need to actually elevate their impact. Just listen to this powerful hook from leadership lesson number 2. Accountability starts where excuses end. Let that resonate for a second. Great leaders own outcomes. They simply don't outsource responsibility. And that perfectly encapsulates the major mindset shift we're diving into today, drawing a hard line in the sand between making excuses and actually making progress.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We are going to cover the true meaning of accountability, facing inevitable workplace challenges, why excuses explain while solutions solve, the high-performer mindset, and finally, building an accountable culture.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the true meaning of accountability.
We really need to challenge this preconceived notion that accountability is some negative, punitive concept that only gets dragged out when things go completely off the rails. It is absolutely not about assigning blame when things go wrong. It's about taking ownership when things matter most. Think about it. How many times does a project hit a snag, and the immediate reaction is this forensic hunt to find out who messed up? True accountability strips away that toxic stigma of blame. It replaces the fear of punishment with the incredibly empowering act of stepping up, taking the reins, and owning the outcome right when the stakes are highest.
Moving right along to Section 2, facing inevitable workplace challenges.
Look, before we can even begin to practice accountability, we have to completely normalize a basic reality. In every single organization on Earth, things will inevitably go wrong. Hurdles like tight deadlines, resource constraints, process failures, unexpected risks, and constantly changing priorities, these are just unavoidable facts of business. And because they are basically guaranteed to happen, using them as excuses is totally counterproductive. They aren't some special, unique bad luck happening just to you, right? They're just the standard, everyday landscape that every single professional has to navigate.
Which brings us to Section 3, excuses explain, solutions solve. Excuses might explain a situation, but they rarely solve it. This is the real turning point where we have to pivot our energy from looking backward at why things happened to taking forward-focused action. Leaders who actually earn the trust of their teams focus way less on why a problem popped up and much, much more on what we can do next. You can spend hours crafting the perfect email explaining exactly why a resource constraint delayed your project, but at the end of the day, that explanation doesn't magically deliver the project. Action does.
There is a massive gap between crossing your arms and saying, "Hey, it's not my fault," versus stepping forward to say, "I own the outcome, and I will help find the solution." True accountability is proactively embracing the hunt for that solution. That specific distinction? That is the exact difference between just participating in an organization and actually leading within it.
Let's break down Section 4, the high-performer mindset.
Based on Mayank's extensive experience leading teams and driving transformation initiatives, top performers share a very distinct, repeatable pattern. Step 1, they take ownership immediately. Step 2, they absolutely do not wait for perfect conditions, because as we just established with that list of inevitable challenges, conditions are literally never perfect. Step 3, when snags occur, they don't point fingers. And Step 4, they focus entirely on finding solutions, learning from those setbacks, and just moving forward. High performers don't just passively experience work, they actively drive it with absolute accountability.
And that leads us to our final section, Section 5, building an accountable culture.
When you take this individual mindset of ownership and scale it up, it completely transforms a team's entire environment. 3 really distinct things happen when accountability becomes part of your team's DNA. First, performance just naturally improves because everyone is driving towards solutions instead of hiding from problems. Second, trust strengthens immensely between colleagues. You know for a fact the person next to you has your back. And third, continuous improvement actually becomes possible simply because people are no longer afraid to openly analyze their setbacks. Ultimately, leadership is not about having all the answers. It is about having the courage to take responsibility. Just let that sink in for a second. True leadership requires courage, not omniscience. You absolutely do not need to know exactly how to fix a process failure on day one. You just need the courage to raise your hand and say, I'm taking responsibility and we're going to figure this out together.
So I want to leave you with this to chew on. What does accountability truly mean to you as a leader or a professional? Are you stopping at the excuses, or are you pushing all the way through to the solutions? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so definitely share them in the comments below. And make sure you follow Mayank Trivedi and the Lead, Improve, Grow platform on LinkedIn for more incredibly practical insights on leadership and career growth. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep growing.